Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Localization Fireside Chat. Appreciate you being with me this morning. I'm delighted and honored to have my two guests with me this morning, Pierre-Benoit and Duhamel, and David de Grégoire from Sous-Titreur. And Sous-Titreur is a closed captioning company, is based in Quebec. I'm proud and happy to be joined by these two innovators and two gentlemen in our localization industry that are making a difference in the way we see closed captioning and today and in the future. Before I get started, our localization fireside chat is available on YouTube, and it's also available on Spotify. You just have to search for the localization fireside chat in YouTube and you'll find our channel. I invite everybody to subscribe, comment, like, share the videos as you see fit and necessary. Thanks so much. So let's start with a round of introduction. We'll start by David. David, tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us a little bit about the organization, and then we'll go to Pierre-Benoit.
All right, thanks for the introduction, Robin. It's a pleasure to be part of this fireside chat. So my name is David Grégoire. I've been a digital marketer my whole life, and I just happen right now to have a quite successful business in the localization industry and closed captioning. And this is the company I manage every day now for 3 years now. So I'm having lots of fun playing in that industry, which was new for me, as I said, because I'm more of a digital marketer.
And one of your interesting, I read a little bit about your bio. One of the interesting thing that you've done many interesting things, and it was surprising to me, is you founded an airline company. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah. I've been working more than 6 years as Vice President of Technology and Marketing for the largest online travel agency in Quebec. We had sales of about $100 million per year, online in Canada only, and in French. So it was quite a big travel agency. And when I left, I launched other companies, and this was the guy that already had an airline, a small airline, and wanted to do trips to the Caribbean. So we started a new airline together, and I left the company right before COVID. Like, I'm really lucky because, the industry really suffered from COVID. And now the airline is going well. It's called OWG, and it makes flights to, as far as I know right now, Cuba only. It was an interesting project. I traveled a lot for that company. And, I always thought that there was one or two ways to be really rich in life, having a pharmaceutical company or having an airline. So that's why I launched it.
Well, hopefully you achieved one, the founding of the company. I'm hoping that you're rich. David, I understand you're in Puerto Rico right now. You were talking just before we started recording here that you're in Puerto Rico. And, true to a digital nomad, by the way, to the audience, David worked from anywhere. Anywhere there is a connection. You can see David, like the rest of us in the localization industry, especially during COVID and after COVID, plugging your laptop and accessing and doing business, whatever you happen to be. Would you mind showing the audience where you are right now? I just want to make everybody jealous. Look at this blue beach. Look at this blue water. Incredible. I love that.
But maybe you didn't know, Robin, but right before we met months ago, I was coming back from a 14-month road trip across Europe with my 4 kids. So we did 30 countries in Europe, and I was working, building the company every now and then. And during the school year, we stopped in Italy so that the kids could go to school. And I had the chance to have an office and a stable internet connection to be working for these months. But yeah, I'm a big traveler.
Building a company while you're on the road, David, I'm just trying to survive. You're building a company while you're vacationing. I love that.
I have good partners and a good team working with me too, so it helps a lot.
Excellent. Just if you don't mind, I'd just like to move on to Pierre-Benoit. Yeah. Pierre-Benoit, tell us a little bit about yourself as an introduction, and what drove you to connect with David. How did you two come together, and the idea, evolution, etc.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Robin, for having me this morning. So I joined David approximately 2 years ago in this endeavor of closed-captioner.com. David and I are longtime friends. We've known each other for 15 years now. We should celebrate that. Actually, we haven't celebrated it.
You're right.
So I'm from a retail background. I've developed a luxury retail business, and during COVID, David came to me and we had a conversation. He had started It was taking off. The business was already thriving, but there were, some challenges in terms of liberating him from different tasks and making sure we could put a proper team in place, in a proper financial structure in order to really make it explode. So I made the big jump and joined David as a partner and, executive VP to grow the team, grow the business, make sure we can provide quality in the various languages that we serve. And that's what my role is in this. David is always the fantastic ideas man, the technological developments. He's always, I'd say 3 steps ahead in terms of what we can develop, what we can do in the system to whether it optimizes the quality to the customer or optimizes the, I call it work environment, even though we have currently about 5,000 freelancers worldwide that log into our system to do work. Well, their work environment is the platforms, how they do the transcription, how we optimize by automating certain parts of the work. So that's David's ideas. And we take all this, put it together to have a business that's solid, quality driven, and consistent.
Excellent. Now, you two, when David came up with the idea, and you two are friends for a long time, and what was your first reaction, Pierre-Benoit, to the idea? What did you initial reaction? Yeah. Oh my God, what are you thinking? Or
when initially, I remember him telling me we had gone hiking in Sutton near where David lives. And he said, I started this thing. We're doing subtitles. There are people that are logging in, doing it. And I think back then he used to dispatch the jobs via email. And I was sort of a little bit skeptical as to, okay, is there really a market for this? And when he spoke to me 6 months later, he said, okay, now it's really going well. And with a bigger scope and better research, I realized that it's a thriving industry that with the growth of video online and via multi-platforms, Netflix, Prime, whatever video content is out there, that is exponentially growing, with the counterfact that people are watching on mobile devices and therefore not listening to sound. So they need the captions to be on the video in order to understand the message. Mm-hmm. So it's created an industry that's thriving and is only in a growth phase right now.
Excellent. David, when you worked in other industries, I mean, obviously you were not in localization, but you probably saw an opportunity in localization. How did that come about? Like, what was the spark, if you will, that says, I see an opportunity here?
It wasn't supposed to be a business, Robin. I have to admit, I have other businesses, and I just wanted to create videos for my other businesses. And I know for certain, because I'm a digital marketer, that people, they don't interact with videos online if they are in a situation where they cannot put the sound on. For example, you are in the bed with your spouse, you are at the restaurant, or you could be anywhere else. The thing is, you're not going to interact with the video you see because you don't have the time, and you cannot put the sound on. And anyways, you don't want to interact anyways. But if you want to cap attention, you need to put captions so that people would read it. And this, I already understood that years ago when I was creating videos. But then when I started again after launching the airline right at the beginning of COVID, I needed to put captions on my videos, and there was no affordable solution to create captions in French. There was one in English. There was no affordable solution in French. You would have to contact a cinema company. So the process was complicated for a small entrepreneur like me, small business, really, really small business. So what I did is I hired someone full-time to write my captions for me. And weeks after, I was not producing enough videos to keep him busy full-time. So I asked other marketer friends, do you have videos to caption? And then from there, I had no choice but to create a website because people were sending me videos and money and everything, and there was no way to manage all this. And little did I know that weeks later, we would be 50, 100, 500, 5,000 freelancers and a whole bunch of clients everywhere in the world to send us videos to caption. You know, most of the videos we do are for social media. It's not all of what we do, but most of it, because it's the, you know, localization before social media was so big, was more for the deaf, for people that cannot hear. And it was an expense. But right now, it's for these people and also for the rest of the world that can hear perfectly, but you want your videos to be displayed to them and listened by them and watched by them. So you need to put captions. Right now is one of the only things that you can do for accessibility that also is profitable for a company. So I think that's why this has been so successful up to now. But to come back to your question, I never thought it would be a business by itself, honestly.
You know, they say the need is the mother of all inventions. So there is a need, you created an invention, and the invention turned to a profitable company, which congratulations for this. And which, you know, I mean, I keep talking about this, and you and I have talked about this topic before, is that the innovation and the passion that is combined together in the localization industry in general, or in entrepreneurs such as yourself, David, it is amazing what you can produce out of that. And I'm speaking in general, obviously, and you're an example of this, is that, you know, when you have passion to do something, and your passion is business in this case, you saw an opportunity to develop something to solve a problem. And, you know, at the time, as you mentioned, it was a problem. You know, dubbing was, you know, complex task that people need to use in their videos, etc. You said, okay, I'm going to solve this. I'm going to make it easier for people to do dubbing for their own videos and closed captioning. So going to this, I mean, I'm thinking here of the news that came out on Slater, and I'm going to dig into it a little bit with maybe Pierre-Benoit can take this one on. The Mr. Beast and the launching of his own dubbing company. Wondering what's your comments on this one? Like, again, this is a video creator he's got like several million subscribers. So obviously obviously an influencer, and probably works with you or not, I don't know, but what do you think of him launching the initiative that he's doing?
So I just want to put in perspective before we talk about dubbing and closed captioning and subtitles. So David,
let's define that. Good idea. Let's define it. Yeah,
we are in the closed captioning and the subtitle business. We do not currently offer the service of dubbing at scale like we do in subtitles. I can understand Mr. Beast wanting to, especially for dubbing, to control his own voices, his own quality, and at the scale that they are at, to have whether an internal team or to have a business in it, it would make sense for him for his content per se. Now, to do it at scale on the other part is a completely different business, and they probably have a good team in place to structure it, to launch it, and I think we wish him, you know, a great success with that.
Were you aware, Robin, that Mr. Beast, prior to launching this dubbing company, has launched the biggest restaurant of hamburgers of the USA? Did you know that?
No, I read about him, and yes, I was aware of that, but I didn't know, you know, again, entrepreneurs, I mean, you're a great example, David. You come up with an idea, and the fundamentals is there a business in here? And if the answer is yes, does the product matter? And the answer is no, typically no, because as long as there's a business opportunity somewhere, you would just go in and you develop it. In this case, yeah, I heard about his burger chain. But with all due respect to him and to everybody who is content creators, there are sometimes, especially for the especially for the content creators such as myself, starting new in a channel, and you want to take that channel to multiple demographics in a variety of way, closed captioning or dubbing or whatever means that you probably want to use. There is a gap there, and you guys, I know I've had this conversation before. Not necessarily everybody has like that $1 million budget that want to go and do things in a $1 million budget, quote unquote criteria. But some people want to get things done, quickly, put them on social media. And as you know, and as I know, content has an expiry date, has a shelf life. For that short shelf life, you don't want to spend too much money.
Well, actually, it is an interesting debate because you have covered two interesting points. You're talking about the shelf life of the content that is produced today. But what we see in the market is people creating content like the podcast we are recording today together. And then after that, this content doesn't have an expiry date. We could use part of this content again and again and again. For example, just a sentence that I just said, right now, we could make a short clip, put it on TikTok, and we could put it back on TikTok in 1 year from now. Different people would see it, and it would be still pertinent in that time.
Yeah.
So the content that you create today could be used and can be used and should be used in multiple formats in the future. You just have to have the discipline and the workflow to use it, cut it, and publish it again and again and again. So this is one thing. You're talking about, oh, sorry, you were going to say something?
No, I was just gonna, yeah.
Yeah, and you also were talking about the budget of putting captions and producing the content and everything. What we see is tiny influencers that don't have the budget to dub or to create captions or create subtitles in different languages to reach different demographics, as you were talking about earlier. And we see on the other side, professional companies, professional creators that do have the budget.
Sure.
And the thing is, it's kind of a double, in French we say a couteau à double tranchant. I don't know,
double-edged sword. Double-edged sword.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's a double-edged sword because you want your content to be viewed and interacted with as fast as you can as a small influencer or a small video content producer. And just by putting captions in the original language that you are producing the content will almost double your views, will increase by at least 50% your views right away. So after that, if you put subtitles in different languages, you will reach a broader audience, that's for sure. But I think that the first step would be to create captions in the original language. But there is something else that we have to talk about or think about, automated captions. I made a research using, I don't know if you know Google consumer surveys, but you can send across Canada and US, for example, a Google consumer survey to different people. You don't know their industry. They could be like normal consumers or they could be working in different industries. And I asked them, if you are watching a video that has automated captions and you see too many mistakes, too many errors, will you keep on watching the video, put the sound on, or stop watching it because it will be annoying to see that many mistakes? And 75% of the people told me they would stop watching the video right away.
So quality is important.
The quality is so bad.
Yeah, quality is important.
If you read a text written by a 7-year-old, if it's your child, you will read it because you have no choice. But you wouldn't want to read a whole newspaper written by a 7-year-old because there are so many mistakes. I mean, it doesn't make sense to read it. So the audience will do the same. It's almost better not to put any captions than to put captions automated with a low quality. So that's why I'm thinking that our industry, the localization industry, humans and everything, they still have their place.
That's right. I mean, we've covered this topic on this channel quite a bit. And I would like to get Pierre-Benoit's vision on this one in terms of machine and human working together. So obviously technology is evolving in your industry and in your segment of the industry and the rest of the segments of the localization industry. And I know you have 5,000 freelancers you mentioned earlier logging into your system, contributing, etc. do you see a role, or how does this play in your world when it comes to the chat GTP kind of an environment and your manual process? So where does manual process begin, ends? Are they merging? Where do you see the future?
That's a very valid question, Robin. So what you have to know is that at this point, what we do is, and we can talk about ratios, but the transcription part, we have not seen any solutions that are close to being able to offer a speech to text that would make the human taken out 100% of the equation. We have humans transcribe the content, listen, transcribe, then they go through, then there's an automated process for all the formatting. So our technology does take away 50% of the time than, classic subtitle companies that have people in an office doing subtitles for a movie, for instance. We automate 50% with our scripts, with our technology in the back end. And the fact is, and we're always trying different solutions. The reality is that for fast-paced videos with many people speaking, only the human ear is able to decipher the context, who spoke when. A machine cannot do it. So obviously we know that we're like a tech-enabled service, but we still provide that human part of the work. But what we've done is we've brought this at scale. So we're able to deliver volumes because of our scale and our reach in different languages that any normal subtitling company could not do. Mm-hmm. So we took an archaic business and brought it online. So we have reached from, different orders can come in from anywhere in the world. And we also have a dispatch platform that can do the work. And we fragment, we have all these processes in place to, one, there's the time to market, like David spoke about, saying that video must be, subtitles need to be received quickly in order to be able to monetize this video online. So we're able to deliver videos on an average time, subtitles in 7 hours.
That's what I was going to ask you, the advantage, what are your advantages versus other transcription companies out there? And we know a few of them. You and I talked about those large competition that of yours. You must offer some unique, and based on surveys. And if you look at surveys alone, every customer is different, obviously, but surveys tells us that price is not in our industry. Price is ranked number 3 on the what's important to the market. Turnaround time, incidentally, happened to be number 1, and quality number 2, and price is number 3. But when you talk to a various entrepreneur in our industry, and you look at what's going on in the industry with people talking about commoditization and, how price pressure and how things are dropping in terms of our rates, that tells a different story than what the data is telling us. The data is telling us, the prices should be rising. The importance are the deliverables, which they are, on-time delivery. People want their jobs on time done, no delays. And time to market is very essential, very important time to market, because if you're not in the market, that means you're losing money as a customer. And the second thing is the quality. Both of you, can you react to that?
So for us, the 3 points that you put, I say we layer them together because we're at a very affordable price. We deliver quality and we deliver it. We're the fastest in the market.
That's the best sales pitch I ever heard. Get it cheap, good quality, and on time.
That's the reality, right?
It's always trying to.
And we have different price tiers for different quality levels, but whether you take a higher quality level or not, the delivery time is the same.
Okay.
So we layer the 3 together and we do it at scale.
Excellent. So I'm glad. If you don't have a job with David, and based on that sales pitch alone, I'm just about to.
But I can tell you what I'm hearing from clients. We have big clients, serious clients that want quality, and they want speed. So for them, the price is a bit less important, as you said earlier. But I've been speaking also to ex-clients that even if we deliver within 4 or 5 hours, when they finish their video editing, they already need the captions right away. I mean, not in 4 hours, not in 7 hours. They need it right away. So then they have no choice but to do it themselves. It's already 5 minutes to midnight. They have to deliver the video right away. So speed for them is more important. They would pay more, but I mean, it's really hard to deliver a service, an instant service of quality. So there are these two different business models: the ones that produce the video and need it right away, the ones that want quality above the price, and there's also these small companies that at any price it's too expensive for them.
That's right.
You know, it exists. It could
That's
be
right.
It could be all sizes of companies. Let's be honest. It could be
That's
like
right.
the freelancer that produces their own videos. It could be the small agency that already pay a clerk or a video editor and tell them, well, you know what? I'm already paying you. Please write the captions and make the translation yourself. So there are these three business types that we have to work with, and it's always very hard to find the good midpoint.
Balance. Yeah, balance.
Yeah, the good balance. But that's why right now what we do is we have different prices for different qualities and different prices for different delivery speeds. Mm-hmm. So then if someone wants a high quality, very, very fast, it's going to be more expensive. And if someone doesn't have much money to spend and maybe they're not in a rush at all, it's going to be less expensive. So we try to offer the three. It's impossible to be really, really cheap and deliver instant and have the highest quality possible. But we try to adapt to everything.
David, we call it the 2 out of 3 rule, right? The 2 out of 3 rule. So you can pick 2 out of 3.
Exactly.
You know, cheap quality, or fast. So pick 2 out of 3. And you know, the people who claim, and that's been my experience, to do all 3 together, I kudo to them if they can do it or they can achieve. They should be patented, in my opinion.
Yeah. But we're lucky to live today, you know, because there are 2 new things that help us trying to achieve those 3 things at the same time. Globalization of the people, of the workers. Now Correct. We're able to hire people everywhere in the world to do different kind of jobs that might cost less to produce, and also technology. And we are strong believers into enable our humans to work with a always better technology to deliver better quality in a faster time. So that's why, like Pierre-Benoit said earlier, each day we try to see, okay, what can we improve in our technology? You know, you have the humans, you cannot change the humans. Humans, they hear well or not, they do mistakes. It's like they're imperfect. So what tools can we provide them so that we deliver faster at a higher quality? And this is a battle we are working on every single day. We're lucky.
So improving the technology is one of your main goals, I would say, to do things more effectively in the organization in terms of quality, in terms of fast turnaround. Technology is the cornerstone in your business, beside the people who are and the human resources who is helping you do the work. I mean, you got to have that technology foundation to allow you to do what you do. How many engineers? And talk to me a little bit about your IT structure. Are you doing the development internally? Is this outsourced? How many engineers you have, and how are you structured internally on the development side? Because I'm assuming that's a continuous process. That's not a shot in time. Basically, we develop the product and off we go. This is something that is continuously happening, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Pierre-Benoit, do you want to elaborate on that?
Absolutely. So when we started, David was doing everything. Now we
That's the starting point.
So the way we're set up, Robin, is that David now just oversees all the technological advancement. We have a head of IT to whom three full-time programmers reports to. Our head of IT also programs things in the platform, and it's twofold. So we have new developments, so new features we're putting into our dashboards, putting into the way people, you know, the transcription screen, the corrector. So that's the development side. And then we have the other side, which is more technical support. because there's always something client requests, different file format. So we're well geared in order to put these things into place, but always under the supervision of our founder and CTO, David.
I have to tell you, Robin, at the beginning, in the first weeks, sorry, Pierre-Benoit, to interrupt, in the first weeks of the business and first months, we were working on YouTube's captioning tool. So it has evolved a lot since then, but we understand that if we are using someone else's tools, we might not be able to improve them that much. So that's why at one point we decided to build our own tools so that our team can use it. And then we can check the speed at which they type. We can check how they work, what keys they are hitting, what common mistakes they do. And we can start from that and evolve the tools and improve them every single week.
So you rely on data, basically. By collecting data, you rely on it to make sure that you're making decisions to the future in terms of performance and the attribute of your software to be always being on the development side of things to be better, right? Which brings me to the next question. It's about the future. So, you've started a company, you've seen an accelerated growth from day one, you're developing a software now, things are happening for your organization. What's the 5-year, 10-year vision for your organization in terms of, people, tools, products, services, from whatever angle you want to address that?
Sure. Well, we see a huge growth in languages other than French. The reality, Robin, is that we started with French captions and have developed that market. And now phase 2 of the plan is to market and sell our services in other languages. We currently, I think, 7 languages, David.
Yeah, we do. So right now we started with French as there was a need in the market and I had the need myself. But then our French clients asked us, would you do Brazilian Portuguese? Would you do Spanish, English, Hindi, Korean, Italian? So we did also Dutch, and we did a bit of German too. So we are able right now to deliver services into these languages. And if you are a technical person, Robin, and I don't know how much you are, but being able to have softwares that can process characters like accented letters in different languages, or in German you have this strange S like this. So these are extended character sets, and since we almost since day one had to work with these characters and different languages, our platform right now allows us to do them all and to add new languages too. So as Grégoire said, future for us is certainly these markets, as we already delivered services into these markets, but we have never addressed and sold in these markets. I'll let you continue, Pierre-Benoit.
No, and phase 2 is we have a great tool now that we've developed for the actual captioning. So David and I have spoken, and it's a development to license our software to other companies that have their own task teams within them and that want to use a software that's, semi-automated by tech, where all their formatting would be taken into place and they would just do the transcription. And, as the speech to text improves, we start using layers of it in order to automate the maximum. But the reality is the formatting is as important as the actual transcription. So we're going to automate both of this.
And so the timing, and I'm assuming the timing on the video too, because you want to make sure that the captioning line up with the timestamp on a video, correct?
Yeah, and that's something that's already, we have developed the technology that helps all that. And that's something that takes a tremendous amount of time in a standard captioning company.
Congratulations to you too. This is a great idea, great innovation that you guys have started and launched, and over no time, literally took off for you guys. You hit the right market at the right time, and with the right solution, I say, and that's the three keys to success: timing, and the opportunity to solve a problem, and a customer that is willing to be approached toward solving these problems by paying to solve the problem, to create a business, obviously. So congratulations again. Now, how do you see, and lots of talk in the industry, and I've talked about it on this channel many times, is that there's a lot of technology coming up: artificial intelligence, ChatGPT, machine translation, and a bunch of other things. Where do you guys see all this in regards to your business? If there is any impact at all, maybe not, I don't know.
Such an interesting question, Robin. I drive a Tesla myself with the autopilot. Have you ever used it?
I've driven a Tesla before. I don't own one, but I've driven a Tesla before, yes.
Have you tried the autopilot feature?
I did. Okay. It's an interesting one. Yes, you got to keep an eye on it. I don't trust it.
You've said it right. Okay, so thing is, with artificial intelligence, we have hallucinations, and when I say it's not, we have hallucinations. It has hallucinations. It would tell you facts that are not real, like if they were real. So my philosophy on artificial intelligence and speech to text and other technologies like that is that it's better to have them provoked, triggered by a human, than having a human to correct them. Why do I say that? If you drive your Tesla on autopilot and you have the hand on the wheel, if you want to change lanes, you want to turn right or left, or you want to do anything, you can do it. But if you let the car drive by itself and you go on the passenger seat and you're asleep there, it will be too late to correct a mistake.
Yeah.
Thing is, with the speech to text and other AIs, it would write words that are simply incorrect.
Correct.
And when you try to correct that, there are some errors that you miss. That's obvious. It's like if you have to correct a text that I will write myself. I'm a human. I write the text. I write the first paragraph perfectly. So your task is to correct what I do. You read my first paragraph, you say, oh, this guy has a good good writing. He doesn't make any mistakes. And then your brain starts disconnecting from trying to search all the errors. Or it could be totally the opposite. I could be writing like an 8-year-old, and you could try to correct all the mistakes that I do, but I do so many that at the end you don't see them all because there's so many. So I prefer, and my view on that is, I prefer having the AI used as a tool triggered by humans than having AI fixed by a human that can himself do mistakes.
So,
and not see them all.
Yeah, which brings me to the next question, which actually, obviously, it's an obvious question, is that, as you know, every technology is got some maturity, and we are in the floor levels of artificial intelligence maturity. I mean, it's still have ways to go. In your opinion, is it a matter of training? The artificial intelligence is learning now. And I don't know, like you and I could be looking back in 5 years from now, and we see artificial intelligence, cybernetics, ruling the world. I don't know the answer to that. In your opinion, is it not trained well enough at this stage to do what a human needs to do? And I know it's a philosophical question. I don't know.
It is. It could be. I would be a fool to say that my view is the right one, and I know exactly what the future will look like. But I can tell you that when my dad purchased a digital scanner in the late 90s, there was already a OCR technology that would recognize the characters and convert a letter that you would scan, convert it to a Word document in text. And even at that time, this software was imperfect. But it was the first one of our kind of artificial intelligence to convert something into something that is usable on the computer. And even today, this technology is still imperfect, and it's like almost 30 years old.
Correct.
Right now, 20-something years old. If you have ever managed a IT development project, you know that reaching from 0 to 90% completion is kind of easy. But for it's for some reason, it's always
10%.
Yeah, the last 10% is the hardest. It's always the hardest.
That's
So
right.
it would take you 2 months to reach 90%, and then maybe 5 years from 90 to 98%.
That's
So
right.
being perfect is the hardest thing in the world, that's for sure. And until then, we need humans.
That's right. And, and I wrote a blog on this one. People could reach out and search it on my blog post, robinayoub.blog. And I wrote a blog on the coexistence between machine and human. We always going to have to get used to the environment of, we are working with intelligence, machine intelligence, like software, computers, etc. And some places we have to give room to the machine, and some places we have to intervene and correct what the machine is doing. But it's not going to be either or. It has to be that environment that we coexist between software and human is going to be around us for many, many years to come.
Yeah, and there's something really, really hard to do. I read an article in the newspaper La Presse 1 week ago, and they asked ChatGPT to act as a tour guide in Montreal. To say, okay, go to that restaurant to eat that thing, go to this monument, and here is the history of this person that has a statue there. And well, of course, it would do mistakes with the opening hours of the restaurants or things like that. That's obvious. But the most dangerous thing, in my point of view, is when this Chat GPT robot says, this guy, he is a war hero. He has done that thing in the 18th or 19th century, while all this was completely false.
Wrong.
It's completely wrong. It was all invented by ChatGPT based on I don't know what, and it was completely wrong. But if you are a tourist, you don't know that it is wrong.
You're getting the wrong information.
That's it. So you cannot really trust it. You have to know more about the subject than the tool itself. And this is a hard thing.
But you know what's impressive, though? I mean, I get it. There's a lot of faults and mistakes at this point right now. You can't take it as it is. You have to work with it and modify it and correct it. But what's impressive is the speed of learning. These machines are, this software is learning. And I've tried ChatGPT a couple of times just to see how it learns and how it behaves based on my own, user experience. And it seems to learn. Like if I give it, I like this writing style, or I like this composition of a sentence, it seems to adapt quickly to it. If I say to it, okay, write me a little paragraph on subject A, I don't like your way you've written this. Can you modify to, include these types of facts, or I modify this? It learns that. And the next time I give it a certain topic, it sort of take what I gave it in the past and adapt to it. I'm impressed with the speed of learning. How fast is this thing learning to behave or to accommodate us as a human in terms of what we give it in terms of input?
Do you see, Robin, one day, and again, it's a philosophical question. Do you see one day where you won't have to answer your emails and you can let ChatGPT answer them all without you overlooking it? Do you see one day it will happen?
No, it won't be, but it will answer 80% of your emails, I would imagine. There will be 20% of your emails, you will have to answer them yourself. The 80-20 rule, I love that rule. In everything we do in life, 80-20 rule, I think it would apply. You're right. When you said, 90% of the project gets done, that last 10% mile, that last mile goes forever. If you're building a house and you did everything, and I know when we did the house renovation in our house, my wife kept on nagging me. They still have a few items here not corrected, and those lasted for a couple of years. I haven't done them. So, but eventually I got them done because, I have to do them. The problem is, in the 90s, I was working for a company. I won't mention the name right now. I was a database architect for them. We wrote a program to read emails and dissect the email based on certain keywords within the email. Example, a customer's checking on their order. So the logic, the computer, the software, we were using Unix at the time, and those are, I'm dating myself right now as the platform we were using at the time. So the email program would read the email, look for keywords, order, number, customer name, and it would dip into the database, check on the order status, compose an email, which was pre-written in the program, and it will send the email back to the customer. That's in the 90s. And to be exact, 1995, 1996 timeframe. We've gone quite a bit ahead of that. And now you're right. Back to your question. I don't imagine a situation where, like the Tesla model, would solve 100% of the human. Humans are complex, and you're not going to find a machine to mimic a human 100%. But I tell you, for those repetitive tasks, yes, machine can replace.
And what if your wife asks you in an email, can I buy this $1,500 dress? And then the email answers yes. And then your kid asks you, can I take your car tonight? And then the script replies yes, but without knowing that you need the car, or you don't want your kid to drive it because it's an expensive car. So these are cases that...
For sure. Yeah, I mean, those are debates that we can have them, and I love that debate that we're having today, because those are fundamental questions. No, you bring up a very interesting questions. If this is how we are going to behave as technology and human coexist in the same environment, there got to be some control, as you mentioned earlier, that, that indicator that a human is in control is, I want to give the ability, I want to dictate to the machine, look, if my son is asking, he's underage, I know, because he's not 18 yet, he's going to ask him to drive a car. The answer is no. If, the limit spending on my credit card is $500, if my wife wants to spend $1,500, I'm going to, the answer is no, or default back to me to answer it. So those kinds of things needs to be programmed.
Yeah, but it is hard. It will be interesting to see what happens in the future with that technology. That's
absolutely
obvious.
100%. There's a lot of potential for it, but it needs to be shaped. Yeah. It needs to be guided. It needs to be customized to each individual's needs and wants and behavior. I guess we're coming up on the hour. I got a couple more questions for you. One specific one is, where do you see us? Where do you see your organization going from here? What's your next 5-year goals? What you like to achieve? Just to wrap it up. And if customers or audience on this channel wants to reach out to you, how do they do it? What avenues would they go to engage with you? What do they need to do?
David?
Benoit?
Oh, sure, I'll take it. So as I said a bit earlier, David, Robin, our plan is really to grow by being a multi-language solution. Whether it be with key partnerships on big accounts, and then do what we call our smaller accounts that are, video agencies from across the world. We can work on majors and have our technology evolve, faster than the pace of the average technology in this domain. For us, translation of subtitles or multi-language subtitles on the same video is a key aspect that we do offer but have not yet marketed. So, our plan for the next 5 years is really growth via client acquisition, via improving quality and selling a better service, better product than our competitors. And in order to reach us, we're happy we can be reached via phone, email. Robin, I'm sure you have the information.
We'll include your information in the bio here and the video descriptions by the end of this video. I want to thank my friends David and Pierre-Benoit for joining me today. I really appreciate the relationship that I've known you guys for a couple of years now. I enjoy our conversation every time we get together. It's a thought-provoking one, that's for sure. And I always look forward to the next conversation. So you're friends of this channel. I welcome you anytime you have a brand new idea or brand new innovation you want to tell the world about. I hope you choose me or choose this channel to tell your story. And this is what this is about, is telling the story of an individual or individuals who are involved in the localization industry. So thank you again. Thanks for being part of this conversation this morning.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate it.